Dynamic Click-to-Click can be installed by the do-it-yourself person, providing he or she is experienced and has a good knowledge of tools and be able to fit the finishing trims and cover strips. If you're going to do this yourself, please allow ample time and don't rush. Be sure to follow the instruction sheet on the packs and watch this videotape a few times. Also, if you're not too sure about doing the job yourself, we strongly recommend that it may be a good idea to get a professional installer to visit your home for around 1 hour before you start the job to give you expert advice. You'll find this extremely helpful. Or you can get professional installers to do the work for you quickly and efficiently. They can supply specialized trims and joins. We can give you some contact names for you to get a competitive quote. Dynamic Click-to-Click is a high-quality 8mm thick laminate flooring that is made in Germany and features a new improved click-to-click joint technology. Planks click together on the long edge and planks tap in and click together on the short edge, so there's no need for glue. Preparation and laying click-to-click. Tools needed are a circular or jigsaw 10mm spacers, a rubber hammer or regular hammer with tapping block, hand saw and chisel, Stanley knife, tape measure, pencil and square, some caulking compound and moisture-resistant tape. No glue is required. Plus this drawbar or pulling tool used to install the last board in each row. Also recommended is a dust mask, earmuffs and eye protection. These are needed when cutting the boards. Before opening the packs, they must be acclimatized to the room temperature by laying the packs in a horizontal position unopened for 48 hours before installing. Then install the same day. Make sure you have enough click-to-click to complete the areas, normally allowing approximately 5% for wastage. Enough foam and plastic protective underlay. Moisture-resistant tape to hold down and seal the 2mm underlay. Enough scotia and skirting for the floor perimeter, and any special trims for joining the floor with other floor surfaces. Before starting, be sure to follow the laying instructions on the packs because incorrect installation may void the 10-year warranty. Click-to-click is installed as a floating floor over any flat, dry surface. Vinyl or cork may be left in place, but carpet must be removed. And be sure the surface is free from dust and grit. We recommend sweeping and vacuuming before installation. Check the bare floor surface. If the variation exceeds 3mm per lineal metre, sanding, suitable sheeting or cement-based levelling compound must be used. Dynamic Click-to-Click must be installed on a firm 2mm thick plastic and foam underlay as a barrier to protect against any moisture from the bare floor. Be sure to overlap the clear plastic trim and then tape the underlay down with moisture-resistant tape to avoid moisture coming through. Cut the foam underlay around all the wall and door trims. Glue these trims down where necessary. Here's how to lay click-to-click for the DIY person. Before you start, it's a good idea to have a practice run by clicking and tapping a few boards together. Start on the left-hand side of a room by rolling out the 2mm thick plastic and foam underlay. The plastic surface must lay face down and the foam surface face up. It may be advisable to keep the underlay away from the walls a little bit by, say, about 10mm to allow any moisture build-up under the plastic to escape around the edges and not into the walls. Start by cutting a board in half. Next, place a few spacers against both walls, ensuring that there is a spacer on both sides of the short joins. With the tongue away from the wall, lay down the first board hard against the back and left walls up against the spacers. Lay down the next board adjacent and close together, ensuring that they are lined up straight but not yet joined. Place the half board in the next row by inserting in the groove at 20 degrees and lay it down flat. Place the next full board adjacent at 20 degrees in the grooves of the previous boards, again leaving a small space. Here's a handy tip. Before using your tapping block and hammer to tap firmly the end of the second board and last boards into place, place another board like this on top of the join. This will ensure both surfaces line up perfectly when they are tapped together. You now have a square starting point. Remember, at this stage, we're only practicing, so take your time and don't rush. Run your fingers over both the short joins to ensure that they are perfectly flush. If they're not flush, undo and start again with a new board. A non-flush join could be caused by some dirt in the groove or a damaged edge. The old board can be used later as an offcut. To undo boards, tilt the entire last row back up to the 20 degrees and lift apart the entire row. Now carefully slide the boards apart like this. Please don't pull them apart, just slide them apart. They can be reassembled later. Check there is sufficient clearance under doors and door jamb for your new floor. Prepare in advance all wall and door trims required so that your floor can be put down without delays. As a rule of thumb, the amount of trims usually required normally adds up to the amount of meters used. For example, if you've ordered 50 square meters of flooring, you'll need 50 meters of trim. Here's a handy tip. Before starting, remove all doors and any existing skirting. This will make the installation a lot easier. The doors and skirting can then be replaced after the floor has been laid. Please remember to attach the skirting board back to the wall and not the floor to allow for expansion. If you have pulled up old carpet from a concrete floor, chisel away any rough ridges around the edges of the walls. Use a concrete grade sandpaper to smooth the concrete around the edges to ensure a smooth finish. Remove any residue. Measure the room in advance to determine the width of the last row of planks. If the last row will be less than 5 centimeters wide, cut the first row of planks to a width that will allow the width of both the first and last rows to be at least 5 centimeters wide. Be sure to include room for expansion joins at both walls. After checking that your floor is level with no ridges and is clean, dry and solid, you can start by rolling out the plastic and foam underlay in the direction of the click-to-click boards using 2mm underlay. The plastic surface must lay face down and the foam surface face up. Keep the underlay away from the wall a little bit by, say, about 10mm. This allows any moisture build-up to escape around the edges and not into the walls. Please refer to the installation instructions on the pack for the best suggestion on which direction to lay your floor. Start in the left corner with the groove against the wall. Place down the first full row. Don't forget to leave a 10mm expansion gap at both ends before cutting the last plank in this row. Walls can be uneven. If so, you may need to scribe these planks along the wall to ensure a snug fit. Before cutting, mark each plank with a number so they can be put back in the same order along the wall. Click-to-click is a wood product, so it's important to leave a full 10mm gap at each end where the floor meets any walls or door jambs, etc. Use 10mm spacers along 100% of all the perimeters. This allows for expansion of the floor. Ensure that the underlay has not doubled up anywhere, as this may cause the planks not to click together properly. Mark and cut the boards to fit the last space of this row. To avoid chipping, and when using a handsaw, always carefully cut from the front of the board. Offcuts over 40 centimeters can be used in the next row. When using a power tool, always cut from the back of the board. You can shape the slats in any way desired, for example, to fit around a column by using a jigsaw. When placing down boards, always allow a minimum 40 centimeter overlap to achieve a random, staggered look. Continue laying the boards from left to right, staggering the boards as you go along. Final finishing around walls and doorways. The final finishing around walls and doorways, with the correct trims and mouldings, will give that expert finished look. There are several ways to this. You can get expert advice from professional floor installers, or you can do it yourself. For new houses, it's advisable to let your builder know that you intend to install laminated flooring, so he can allow for the 10mm expansion joins under door jambs and skirting. A minimum 12mm thick skirting board should be used, so it covers the 10mm expansion gap. Allowances should also be made for the thickness of the floor, being 8mm for the board and 2mm for the underlay. For against aluminium sliding doors that open to patios or against pantries and cupboards, you could glue down this angle end or mid-end aluminium profile. For against walls, use a 12mm thick skirting board to cover the 10mm expansion gap. Professional installers sometimes leave an expansion gap up to 15 millimeters for extra large rooms and in high humidity climates. In this case, wider skirting boards are needed to cover the 15 millimeter gap. For against existing skirting boards that have not been removed, a suitable quad board or an aluminium trim can be used. Where the floor finishes flush at a bedroom door and joins onto carpet, vinyl or tiles, etc., you could use these aluminium profiles. These profiles need to be screwed or glued to the concrete or wooden floor. Please follow the manufacturer's instructions. Please ensure you have sufficient clearance under doors and always remove the doors before fitting planks at doorways. There are many options to cover expansion gaps at doorways. For fancy decor-style flush fittings, you may need professional advice. Or here we show a standard fitting using a senior aluminium cover strip where 2 floors meet at a doorway which has timber door jambs. Note the senior cover strip which covers the 20 millimeter expansion gap between both floors, allowing the floors to expand under the cover strip by 10 millimeters each way. Here, 2 floors meet at a doorway which has metal door jambs used in concrete construction. Because of the difficulty in undercutting metal door jambs, 2 senior cover strips are used to allow for expansion. By using this method, the door jambs do not need undercutting. Also suitable is this flat-style junior expansion joint cover. This is normally glued to the floor. Slide the boards in fully on both sides. With a pencil, make a line. Now pull the board back out the required 10 millimeters. This is a quick and accurate way to ensure you have the 10 millimeter expansion gap that is required. Always install some type of expansion joint where the floor exceeds 12 meters in the direction of the long edge of the planks. Also, install expansion joints where the floor exceeds 8 meters in the direction of the short edge of the planks. It's always a good idea to place expansion joints at all doors between rooms. Any sections that can't be covered with skirt or trim, for example around door jambs, should be filled with a non-hardening compound in a matching color to your floor, or please seek professional advice. In problem areas such as under radiators, door frames or similar, you can plane off part of the tongue and groove. Then glue the joint and slide the board into place horizontally. Measure, mark and cut the final row of boards, allowing for the 10 millimeter gap along the wall. Don't forget the first and last row of boards must be a minimum of 5 centimeters wide. Again, use your drawbar to fix the last board into place. Remove all the spaces. The floor is now ready to install the scotia or skirting. Make sure these are fixed into the wall only, allowing the floor to expand freely underneath. The floor can now be swept clean and the furniture moved into place. Maintenance and precautions. Your click-to-click floor will stay looking good for many years with some basic maintenance and precautions. You can easily maintain your floor with products such as this Sabco Super Swish Microfiber Mop, which, when used dry, grabs all dust, dirt and hair, and when used damp, cleans grease, scuff marks and stains. To remove stubborn stains, use a solvent or laminate spray cleaner. Also, it's a good idea to install dirt trapping mats at doorways to minimize wear, and it's a good idea to use felt tips beneath all furniture. Never expose the floor to excess water and never use scours, waxes or polishes. Thank you for purchasing our dynamic click-to-click laminated flooring. Don't forget to follow the instructions on the pack. Please keep this videotape handy in case you need to watch the tape again while laying your floor.